Greetings, Wilkinson here. Today my guest is Jonathan Brett. Say hi.
Hi.
To my people.
Hi to your people.
Hi, people. So Jonathan and I met, what was it, 12 years ago, maybe, something like that?
A very long time ago. Yeah.
I think was it in San Diego?
It was in San Diego.
Rendezvous there.
Yep.
We're doing a very tame G-rated photo shoot, as I recall.
It was.
Teacher.
Yeah.
But we got some good photos, and I actually used a headshot on one of my books. So
Love that.
It was cool. You look great. So anyway, you're in the desert now.
Yes.
And you live with your husband and Randy, who was on the last show.
That's right.
In Indio, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we're in the Indio area.
Where were you before? L.A.?
Yeah, I was in LA for a while, in the Valley, and then before that I was in West Hollywood, as we all must be at some point.
Have I missed that chapter? Maybe I need to go there.
No, that's okay. You can have a late in life West Hollywood experience.
But I still need to go there at some point.
You should. Yeah.
I'll go visit.
I
don't want to live there.
Go for a Halloween.
Okay.
That's a fun experience.
Wow, I bet. Anyway, so you came here, what, was it 2 years ago, I want to think?
A little over 2 years ago, July of 22, I believe.
Why did you come here?
COVID brought us there. We were in a 700 square foot apartment for about 10 years together, Randy and me and our dog. And with the lockdowns and everything like that, being in that same space with nothing going on, you go a little bonkers.
So it was either kill him, kill one, kill the other, get a divorce, or
buy a house,
move to the desert.
Yeah, buying a house is much, much healthier than killing your partner, I think.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
So you're a teacher.
I am.
You're gay.
I am a gay teacher. I am an out
I'm
gay.
nailing it here, man. Wow.
Yeah. Out gay theater teacher.
Oh.
And actually part of the move here did have to do with teaching. I got my teaching credential and my master's degree through COVID, through an internet school.
Seriously?
Yeah. It was an 18-month program. 15 months was the credential. 3 months was the master's degree. How quickly to get a master's degree. How cool.
How's that possible?
1 month long classes. And so now I'm a certified English and theater teacher with a master's in social emotional learning, meditation, mindfulness, yoga, all that stuff. And when we decided to move, yes, absolutely. But you know what? No matter how we are, everyone does it already. We just don't know the word for it. We all hang out with friends at times. We all watch TV. We all sleep. All of those things are mindfulness. We just didn't know to call it that.
My good friend Mark, he does energy work here, and both of us have the same background, the Christian background.
Sure.
Married, 3 kids, ministers in churches and all that stuff. But so I've said to him several times, all of this energy stuff or whatever, and the Christian stuff is all the same stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It just has a different name on it.
Yep.
For example, a couple of weeks ago, there was a woman, they do an intention sessions where everybody's like setting their energy. And he's talking about it, and I thought, this is just like a prayer circle in the church.
Exactly.
It's the same thing, basically.
Exactly. Or a heart circle and
heart circle.
Groups.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Oh.
It's all the same. We just put our own spin on it, and it's our bubble, so it's more important than any other type.
Do you actually teach that stuff, or is it just mixed in with the theater stuff?
I do actually teach that as part of my classes. So we do confidence building, we do performing, of course, playwriting and all that stuff. I also have students check their mindfulness. They log it every week. They check in with themselves. I teach them bits of yoga, bits of meditation, coloring therapy, puzzles. I mean, if you can think of it for mindfulness, I'm probably teaching it to them.
Wow.
Tai Chi. I mean, we really go into the whole spectrum, because theater makes you well-rounded, but you also have to be a well-rounded human being to do theater. So it does help push you in that direction.
And some people are not aware of that.
Some people aren't. Some people think it's, you deliver your lines and you memorize stuff and that's it. And you know what? That's actually the case for a lot of the kids that are in my beginning theater class. They're put in because they couldn't get into art or some other elective or PE, and they're thrown into my class. And at the beginning, they're really reluctant. And by the end of the year, I mean, they could all be in a play.
Right. They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took an acting class for a while. Wasn't for me.
I get it.
But it was a good experience.
Sure.
You teach high school.
I do. I teach high school theater.
Is that better than middle school or worse?
Well,
you probably never taught middle school, right?
I've taught middle school age. I hear the stories about middle schoolers, and every teacher I know says, please do not teach middle school.
Is it just the hormone thing or what?
No, that's definitely a big part of it.
Right.
It's like you're speaking to people who are finding their maturity, but they're not fully there yet.
Right.
Once they get into high school, suddenly you can have an adult conversation with them and they're actually taking it in and understanding it. But in middle school, if you have to have a serious conversation, it does become all about the hormones. And it just, I guess the difference is that in high school, I'm dealing with feminine problems and emotions and time of the month and all of that stuff. And that's not my words. That is their words.
Okay.
It's certainly challenges me to be more understanding.
What do you like about the job?
What do I like about the job? I love when I get to direct the kids in shows. Not only is it a chance for me to practice my craft, but I start to see community built. It's one thing to be going around classes every day and hang out with their small clique group, but I see kids from band and choir and the head of the football team and the head of the student government all coming together in a show. And then suddenly they are the tightest, closest group of friends. And then rehearsal's over and boom, they're back to their different groups.
Really?
And so it's so interesting to see for that moment, for those months or that performance or whatever, there is a real solid community and a family. And I love that. That's me.
That surprises me. Because, I did the theater work, stage manager and stuff for a year, season and a half. I don't know, a year and a half ago, some of the plays we did, those guys, we hang out. In fact, we did last week, just the guys got together for that.
That's really awesome. I feel like the intention is always there. I remember doing theater in LA, and every show I would do, I would get done with the show and say, oh man, we're going to hang out every day. We're going to be the best of friends. And then I never hear from them again until we do another show.
You'd have a nice after party and then bye.
Exactly. It's out of sight, out of mind. I think that might be, it's not an LA thing, but it was my experience of LA theater.
Our lives are too busy anyway.
Everyone is, yeah.
So that's part of it.
That's true.
Huh. So you're gay?
Very.
How long you been gay?
As long as I can remember. I am.
So you popped out and you go, I want a Barbie doll.
A Barbara doll, yeah.
Barbara doll.
Yeah, Barbara doll. Barbara doll. Yeah. No, I do still hear stories from my parents of being at big family dinners and putting a napkin over my head and singing, Matchmaker, make me. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you?
Probably 6. Yeah. No, I was fully gay for as long as I could remember. And you know what? I actually get the chance to be my out gay self as a teacher, which is really cool. A lot of my kids have met my husband. They get really excited when he comes there because he, puts on his director hat there and gives advice and perspective. And they're like, is Randy coming? Is he coming? Yesterday we were in the middle of a rehearsal and Randy called me because he forgot I had rehearsal. And I was like, hi, honey, what's up? And everyone's like, is it Randy? Oh my gosh, tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hi. I'm like, calm down. Take a pause. What's up? But that's the kind of community that's created in theater there, and it's really cool. So
you have a coming out story?
I do.
Well, before we get into that.
Yes.
So you said you basically knew it from when you were young.
Oh, yeah.
So did you say I'm different or I'm gay first? Which one came first?
I would say probably I'm gay. I don't think I put a name to it for a very long time. I mean, as a young child, I just knew I wanted to explore being with other boys. I knew that, all my play games that people would play, it was never with girls involved. I dated in high school females, and it just never felt quite right. But I don't know if gay was the term I would have used. I think I just would have said, I like who I like.
Right.
And then I got older and started to understand almost the political bent of it.
Right.
And that, no, I have to own the fact that I am gay because it gives people the confidence and the safety to understand who they are.
Right. As a teacher, you're talking about?
No,
or just
in life.
In life,
In life. Yeah. I mean, in currently, I feel more than ever that I have to be out and open, because the whole world has become quite divisive, especially since 2016. And I think it's important that we stand strong and fight and own who we are. So I've been trying to do that.
Do you belong to any teacher organizations where nationally theater people, teachers come together? Do you have anything like that?
Yes, actually. I don't know if you've heard of the International Thespian Society.
I've heard of it. What I'm getting at, though, and you can get to it, but what I'm getting at is a male gay theater teacher in Oklahoma. How does he relate to what you're talking about right now? That's what I wanted to get.
That's a really good question. I think the thing about theater, and especially theater teachers, is that if you are going to teach theater, then you better be open-minded enough to try and understand perspectives other than your own.
Right.
And so somebody who might be a gay theater teacher in Oklahoma who maybe is nervous about coming out or nervous about that,
Right.
The stories are there. Gay stories happen. Straight stories happen. Trans stories happen. And if we want to help our students become more open-minded, we have to be, and we have to try our best within whatever is safe for us. If it's actually safe to do it, we have to be as open to everyone, including ourselves, even if it's hard.
So most of them are out, even in Oklahoma?
I haven't spoken to any theater teachers in Oklahoma, but...
You need to take me next time and I'm going to ask questions.
There you go. That's a good idea. I was just at a convention, a conference a couple weeks ago, actually, of high school theater teachers.
Where was that held?
Minnesota.
Okay.
Which,
Minnesota.
Yeah, which was a really cool and interesting experience, especially on the gay front. I found it so interesting that a lot of people in that area, it felt very open in Minneapolis where I was. But in talking to a lot of gay men that were there, they seemed to say, and I could be perceiving it wrong, that it's fine to be open and gay and go to the movies, but to actually start to explore the other parts of being gay,
This is my boyfriend type of thing.
That's not okay.
Huh. Wow.
I found that interesting.
Even in Minneapolis, St. Paul, even that in that.
Yeah, even there, in meeting and talking to people, meeting people, talking to people who even were potentially at the conference, but I'm not going to give details.
Of course.
A lot of people who were like, I don't know if it's a good idea to let anyone know who I am in that way because it might create awkwardness for other people because of where we are. And I found that very interesting, to be at a place where everyone is supposed to be so open-minded, and then there's that perspective weighing on you, preventing you from being like your authentic self.
Speaking of open-minded, silly me. A few years ago, I thought when Obama was elected, I thought, wow, we are really making progress.
Yeah.
And I patted us all on the back.
Of course.
And then something happened a few years later. It's all crap. And I'm realizing Trump didn't change everybody. He just made it okay to be like that.
Yeah.
It's still, even this day after watching years of all this stuff, it's shocking to me.
Yeah.
That the people think this way. All of the hatred and the division and the fear, basically. Boof.
Whether people want to recognize it or not, he creates good theater.
Yeah.
Everything he does is about the audience response.
Right.
They're going into
reality star.
Right.
And did you see the I forget the guy's name, but he's like the producer from all of that stuff when he was on TV, The Apprentice, and he said we created him.
Sure.
And he was apologizing. He said we created a monster because they created the success story. He said he wasn't.
Sure.
They just created it because it was good TV.
Sure, and it was so good that he believed it. The power of, I guess, believing in yourself. But that's the reason why we have to be as authentically ourselves as we can. Because even if he is not being as authentically himself as he can, whatever persona is being presented feels authentic enough to make other people, lean into their most passionate side, be it, whether I like it or not.
Okay, back to your story.
Okay.
You came out. At some point you had to.
I did have to come out at some point. I wish I could say it was a really positive story, but it's a story that over the years I've come to accept and make peace with.
Okay.
So I had been meeting people from a very young age before I probably would have been allowed to meet people. I mean, it was very much a double life, meeting people on the instant messenger. So that gives perspective of age for me.
What do you mean you would have been allowed to? I don't get that.
I wasn't a legal adult yet.
Okay, so you would not have been allowed.
I would not have been allowed.
Oh, I thought you said you would have been.
No, wouldn't.
You
wouldn't.
not.
No.
Okay.
So I was not of legal age, and I was meeting people who were far older because I was very much interested in father figures or daddy. And I would meet them, and it usually felt to be a very safe experience, even though looking back, it probably wasn't. But I felt very taken care of and very safe, and it was fulfilling something in me that I needed.
Right.
But it was all a secret. I didn't tell anyone about it. And then when I was in my final year of high school, I set up a meeting with somebody that was going to be a multi-day weekend adventure. And I lied about where I was going to be. And so I met that person.
And you were how old?
17.
17, okay.
Yeah. And so I met that person, and
Which was a guy.
An
older guy.
An older guy in the military. Yeah. Through instant messenger. And we set up this whole thing, and I met with him, and we started to fool around, and it went past the point of what I felt comfortable with.
Right.
And I tried to protest, and unfortunately, I guess he must have seen it as like a game and didn't really
Oh, like you were doing a role.
I was playing hard to get.
Yeah.
And did far more than I ever expected, even though I had completely shut down. And this happened a few times over that first night.
So you stayed there?
Over that first night, because I was so afraid to leave. I didn't think that there was anything I can do. I also was taught from a very young age that we are respectful of adults, that we listen to them. I was listening.
That was screwed up.
Yep. I wasn't allowed to leave. No, that wasn't the right thing to do. That would be horribly disrespectful.
Right.
Terrible to do.
That's what he was doing wasn't.
Exactly. No, I wasn't worthy of being thought of.
Right.
And so I made an excuse to leave the next day. And then 2 weeks later, I got a really bad flu, and I was 17. So I went to WebMD, which we all did at that time. And of course, WebMD, I've learned, is actually a nickname does not actually have medical advice. And I read that actually meant that flu was the precursor to HIV or AIDS. And that was my coming out story. So I didn't end up being positive. And it was quite the lesson of maybe I need to not be as trusting.
Where did you and Randy get married?
On the Queen Mary in Long Beach. Yes. We wanted to do a really beautiful venue, and Randy's father had actually, in the war, been on the Queen Mary as part of the travel.
Oh.
Yeah. So we thought, what a great place to be.
And it wasn't just because it was Queen Mary?
Not the Queen part, but the Mary part, definitely. Okay. The morning after the wedding, my mom took Randy aside and said, this was the most beautiful wedding. We go to weddings where it's all doctor weddings, and they're all stuffy, and, there's no love. And your friends and your family invited us in and gave us love and showed so much love to our son, which we never expected. And we just are so, so happy and proud. Don't tell my siblings, but now Randy's the favorite son-in-law. And I'm really proud to say that even if we don't agree necessarily on the political end of it, I know my mom and dad have my back. Everyone's got their stories. I envy the people who don't, but even those people who have a so-called perfect life have had challenges that they've gone through. And it's just, how did we handle our trauma?
Where did you meet Randy?
I met him at a New Year's Day party. We tell the story different, but I think we both went there on a date with someone else. The person I was with was like, I want you to meet this person who was not Randy, who was in a group talking to Randy. We walk up and everyone leaves except for Randy and me. And then we start talking about American Horror Story because the first season had just happened. And I was like, it would be really cool if for next season of American Horror Story, they went to New Orleans, and so the total opposite situation. And they did that in season 3. One of the costume designers for the show was at that party. So I wonder if part of me thinks maybe I had something to do with that.
Wow.
Even though I probably didn't. But
was Randy involved in that anyway? Or
no, we were just talking about it. And then we had a wonderful discussion. We totally hit it off quickly. We talked about business cards, and I was like, does anyone still do business cards anymore? And he did.
Of course he did.
I also met my commercial agent there that I was with for a long time at that same party. So husband and agent, what a great deal.
Now, you did acting yourself, or you do acting, right?
I do acting. I did film and TV for a very long time, about 10 years, 10, 15 years. And I had some really wonderful success, member of SAG, some really good TV shows and films and stuff like that.
So are you equity now?
I'm non-act. It's very interesting.
You don't want to be equity in the desert, generally, do you? With most of the theaters can afford you.
I don't think so. My schedule's very limited from teaching.
That's
but
cool.
yeah. But even if it weren't, I do see how theater in the desert is with equity people.
Yeah.
And I know that if I became equity, suddenly now my already limited schedule from school would be non-existent for theater because there's so few theater for equity people out here.
Right. For those listeners, basically, it's like you join.
It's the union.
Yeah,
it's
you're in the union, and
it's
there's
the theater union.
Great wages, and there's union requirements, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the community theaters just can't afford that, even though they might want the person.
Yeah, and it's in the name. It's community theater, and so unfortunately, it's not professional theater as far as Broadway theater.
Right.
Or so whether you're professional or non-professional out in the valley, it's just having that distinction is tough for an equity person here.
Did you ever want to be on Broadway or anything? Or
I wanted to go to New York so badly when I was in high school. I was ready to move to New York, and my mom said to me, "You're not going to get famous in New York. You need to move to LA." As I said, mama's boy, right? So
wait, where was she living at that point?
We were in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I grew up in Florida.
So LA is farther than
New York.
Wow.
Yeah, but it wasn't about that for her. I think my mom had a life she wanted to live, didn't get that life she wanted to live.
So vicariously. Was that a good move?
I met Randy.
Yeah, well, besides Randy, but do you think professionally, did it help you, or would New York have been better?
I think in New York, I might have not done as well because the level of performer in New York for theater, dancer, triple threat, quadruple threat, it's out the roof. And naturally, I am a hard worker. I am an actor who sings, who moves, not dances, moves. Oh. And so I would need a lot more training before I'd be ready to go there. But when it comes to film and TV, there's a very natural progression for me. I fall very easily into film and TV.
So you like that?
I love film and TV, but I love theater too.
Which do you like better? Of the three, what's better? Film, movies, or stage?
The film, TV, or stage. It's different. It's hard to choose. Theater is...
My children do I love the best?
That's right. I'm going into my teacher mode now. When a kid says, "Are we your favorite class?" And I go, "I can't tell you that. You're all my favorite class." Yes. I don't really have a favorite. I love theater because of the immediate relations you make to people, the immediate connections. You end up feeling like a family. I love film and TV because it feels really easy for me. It feels much more natural. And, it's just such a cool process to make a film.
I know a lot of TV, you have to get up really early in the morning.
I'm a teacher. I already have
film
to get up really...
the same way, though?
Film and TV, yeah. So
theater isn't necessarily.
No, theater is very much work around the life schedule.
Especially if it's community stuff, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But no, film, you might get up at 5 a.m, especially if you're doing anything to do with prosthetics or makeup. I know, it's too early, but you get so focused on the work that it just becomes your way of life.
Did you ever end up working with any well-knowns?
I bet you Randy had much better stories about well-knowns than I would.
I don't know that I asked him that. I did.
We almost wrote this book for him, like a Kevin Bacon thing, like a 6 degrees up, because he's 1 to 2 degrees from probably any name you'll mention, because he just has done everything.
All right, so he needs to give me, when you talk to him tonight,
yeah,
I want a list of podcast people from him that he's going to hook me up with.
Sounds good. Sounds good. No, one of the coolest things I worked on was I did a multi-episode guest star on the show Cold Case.
Okay.
Were
you the body?
I was a serial sniper. I was a shooter. I know.
Really?
Yeah, I did arms training, and I was playing a 14-year-old character, but I was like 22. Actually, I went in for the audition for that, and they were like, could he pass for 14? And I was like, at the callback, I will wear makeup. You will know I could pass for 14.
You said that?
I did.
And did you?
They loved what I did so much, they wrote me into 3 episodes instead of 1. So
Really?
I think it went well. That's too cocky. I'm sorry. No, on that episode, I worked with a bunch of really amazing people. And one person that played my father in the episodes was John Grise, who was on White Lotus last season and the season before. Amazing, sweet guy. It was really cool. There's a lot of people I've worked with in the past, but especially on that show, people who have gone on to do Young and the Restless and are regulars on that, people who host shows on E! And stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've had a chance to work with a lot of nice people. I guess the problem with me is I tend to fangirl. So I'll walk up to them and it'll be really hard for me to say something because I'll just be smiling a lot.
Oh, my God.
So less conversations tend to happen. But when it's about the work, we're good.
All right, let's switch gears.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, yes.
Teaching.
Teaching,
What's
yeah.
that like?
I love teaching. I think there's been a controversy coming up recently about LGBTQIA plus students, specifically in the transgender community. And I was surprised, but also overjoyed to find that a lot of my students are in the LGBTQIA plus community. A lot of gay kids, a lot of trans kids, a lot of female to male trans students. I love that I'm getting to learn so much perspective. It forces me to open up my own mind, to be understanding and caring and loving, and to help those kids find a safe space.
Well, you said there's quite a few of them.
A lot.
That surprises me.
Yeah. How come?
Especially, I would think the actual percentages are pretty small, aren't they? We talked a little before before we recorded this, and I had asked, is it because you're in theater that LGBTQ plus kids might gravitate toward you? And I think that that's got to be partly the story.
I was talking to a teacher the other day because we had this parade that we walked at for the city that the school is at. And she was telling me that theater actually has a higher representation of LGBTQIA plus students than the GSA, the Gay Straight Alliance.
Really?
Yeah. People are apparently afraid to be out at the Gay Straight Alliance, but they come to theater and they can be who they are.
That's wild.
I find it wild. Yeah, I find that so wild, but it's something about no matter how comfortable you are, we don't care in theater what your situation is outside. It is about exploring who you are, understanding who you are, and doing the work.
Huh.
You come in, if we're doing a show, I want to know who you are. I care about who you are. I want you to feel safe. And
are the other kids as good with say like another trans kid? Your theater kids aren't going to be bullying that person, right?
It's such an interesting experience because over the past 3 years, I'm in my 3rd year. Okay. Over the past 3 years, I've noticed a little bit of a shift in a very positive way, but it all comes from me. If I am open and accepting to everyone and it doesn't matter to me,
then it
doesn't matter to them. Early on in the year, the first year I was there, I had one student who was deliberately trying to bully another student by misgendering them. I was a female to male trans kid, and the person kept saying she, even after being corrected by the student over and over again. And finally, I had enough of it, so my response was to have us all circle up. They get used to it. My kids, they know, circle up. We do it every day.
Sit in a circle?
Stand. They all stand in a circle. And I said, you know what? Just to make sure we're all clear about who each other is, can we just go around and say our pronouns? Is everyone comfortable with that? And all I had to do was have that exercise where everyone went around. But as soon as we did that exercise, never had that mistake again.
Really?
Never. He, him, got it.
Right.
Literally, since COVID, I have noticed students are like 4 years behind. My high school kids are acting the way 5th graders do.
Serious? Wow.
It's that lack of socialization. And it's just really unfortunate.
Now, were you teaching during COVID?
Oh, no, that's when I was getting my master's and my credential.
So that it was pretty well wound down when you actually started teaching.
The year I came back was when we were still wearing masks, but able to be around each other more.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was the first year that they were no longer doing hybrid learning. So they were back in person. And it was a learning experience for everyone to be around people for 7-8 hours a day. They weren't used to it.
Yeah.
So, but this year I'm finally starting to see things go more back to normal.
Well, there's a lot of growth, personal growth, and there's a lot of divorces.
Well, there you go. People were like, yeah, it worked when we were in lockdown, but now that I don't have to see you as much, I'm not going to.
So you've directed stuff, mostly
I have.
high school productions?
I have, yeah. I've over the past 3 years, I have directed 10 productions, which is a lot for someone who had not really done that before.
So do you like teaching or directing? Oh, I like it all. What do you like?
No, I know it sounds like my kids. No, I like teaching. I love directing. I love seeing the big picture. I love seeing how pieces all fit together. And I feel that I come to a performance as an actor stronger than I used to because I have director experience. I can see where I fit within the overall piece instead of it just being about me.
And isn't it funny how it does come together?
It does.
You're at dress rehearsal and they're not off book yet.
Oh, I would be so angry.
That's extreme.
I would be so angry. Look, I have been in a situation that like almost every show we're just about to get into Tech Week and someone in my cast does not know their lines. And I just put on the sad face and I tell them how disappointed I am. And then we stop rehearsal. And then that next rehearsal, ooh, you better believe they know every single line.
Seriously?
Wow. Yeah, it's like parental disappointment, because these kids are with us at many times for more time than their parents.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's an award ceremony tomorrow, right?
There is, yeah.
I'm not going to go this year, but
I understand.
You looking forward to that?
Yeah, I mean, it should be really fun.
You won a bit last year, didn't you?
We won 4 last year. Yeah, we won for best youth play or outstanding youth production, and I kept that one.
Last year when I went, I was surprised that they had so much of the youth there.
Yeah,
it seemed almost like they would have their own program or something.
That has been a hot button topic.
Oh, has it?
And yeah, I mean, I have a sort of special relationship with the whole thing that I'm not going to mention, but I know I said that, sorry. But I have been doing everything I can to reshape things in a way that are equitable. And right now, one of the big reasons why there is a combination of awards is because it's really important for the youth of this town to see
what it's about,
what it could become. Yeah. So it's about continuing to build community. I can't tell you how many people that are in the professional and non-professional theaters out here came to me after and were like, "That's so cool. I didn't realize that there was such an amazing youth theater community out here." And so it does find its way into other things. And I've been very fortunate that many of my students that have graduated over the past few years have moved into the theaters around here and become regular in their productions. So that might not have happened if they didn't see them at the awards. So, I mean, there's definitely value in the combination.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think we're at the point where I ask you, what have you learned in your life? What do you live by?
What do I live by?
Yeah.
I think what I have learned, and I'm trying to continue to learn every day, is that it's helpful to own your stuff, own your crap. I have much more value when I'm not running away, when I'm not afraid. I have value when I stand tall and strong and be who I am. And other people get the strength to be who they are when I'm not afraid to be myself. That's taken me a long time to learn, and I'm still learning that lesson because I have a lot of fear that I go through. Maybe it's foundational. I'm trying to learn it.
Good words.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for coming in.
I'm happy to be here.
It was a good one.